So, electronic waste is the fastest growing part of the U.S. garbage stream. And me personally, I know I'm a major contributor to this problem. And I'm sure a lot of you in here are as well. And maybe you don't even know it. So, here's some statistics. 130,000 computers and 350,000 cell phones are thrown away every day in the United States alone. And about 80% of people in the United States just throw out their older electronics in the trash. Okay, so what is electronic waste? Wikipedia defines e-waste as loosely discarded, surplus, obsolete, broken electrical or electronic devices. So how exactly are you supposed to recycle electronics? Well, old phones and computers can be dismantled to get the small pieces of metals inside. However, doing so, toxic waste can occur like lead, cadmium, mercury, or chromium. And also, it's very time consuming and a lot of people don't want to have to deal with it, so we just ship it overseas to a lot of the developing countries and developed countries like China. And this is kind of how the whole e-waste thing started and damaging the other countries. So the negative impacts of e-waste. Of course, it's going to poison the groundwater from all the things leaking out. And the toxic fumes emitted when burned down for scrap metal, because they'll take the circuit boards from the computers and heat them over coal fires to recover the lead from them, and also they'll burn with acid to get gold from it. Not only that, they pick them apart to get all the metal which they can sell, which is also not only harmful to the environment, but it's also harmful to the people. Of course, it's going to cause cancer from the lead, and reproductive problems, nerve damage, brain damage in children, high levels of toxic metals in blood. Like in China, I know especially that they found a lot of the children, their blood is laced with lead, which is definitely not good. Okay, so it's illegal. How is it still happening? Well, it goes back to the Basel Convention, which was an international treaty designated to regulate the export of hazardous waste to developing nations. However, of course, the United States was the only industrialized country to not ratify this. So we basically like to put all of our problems on someone else. But that's what the Environmental Protection Agency is for, right? However, it's not very effective. It only oversees exporting of cathode ray tubes, which can be found in old TVs and monitors. However, they're very loosely enforced this, so they can still export them. And another reason why it continues to happen is it's a profitable business. Not only just for us, because we can get rid of our waste a lot easier just by throwing it on somebody else, but also in these other countries, that's a job for somebody. They don't have the job opportunities that we do here, so even though it might not be good for them, they can still make a living and put food on the table for their family. And also, a lot of people will label the things such as donated goods, so they don't actually know what they're shipping across, so they don't get caught for it. And there has been reports from the Government Accountability Office that shows that 43 recycling firms said that they would send their e-waste to other countries without the approval of the EPA or even the approval of the receiving nations. So why can't you just take your computer to a recycling place like at Best Buy? Well, for one, like that, you never know what they're actually going to do with the e-waste. Even if they tell you that they're taking care of it and not sending it across, you actually have no idea. There was a company in California called the Executive Recycling Company, and on their website, their quote, your e-waste is recycled properly right here in the US, not simply dumped on somebody else. However, CNN followed up on this, and they went there and saw the cars lined up, backed up, hour-long line, and people were just piling in all their computers and monitors and printers and stuff into these big trucks. And so they thought that it was going to get recycled, and they thought they were doing the right thing. However, these computers and everything, they were shipped to Washington, where CNN followed them, and then they were boarded on a boat and shipped over to China. And when asked about it, the manager of this business said he had no idea about it. But they took a closer look into it, and yeah. Basically, they sent it to Guiyu, China, which is a city in China where basically you can't breathe the air or drink the water because it's so contaminated, and all the children there, their blood is laced with lead. So, how do I get out of here? Why didn't it start where it's supposed to? And it's not sounds on. Yeah, but it didn't start where it's supposed to.
Water. God. It's against U.S. electronic trash.
I mean, it's literally acres of computer monitors. Is it legal to import all of these computer monitors into Hong Kong? No way. This is absolutely illegal, both from the standpoint of Hong Kong law, but also U.S. law and Chinese law. But it's happening.
We followed the trail to a place Puckett discovered in southern China, a sort of Chernobyl of electronic waste, the town of Guiyu. But we weren't there very long before we were picked up by the cops and taken to City Hall. We told the mayor we wanted to see recycling.
Mayor's going to ride up front. After you. Very nice car.
So he personally drove us to a shop.
Let me explain what's happening here. We were brought into the mayor's office, and the mayor told us that we were essentially not welcome here, but he would show us one place where computers were being dismantled, and this is that place, a pretty tidy shop. The mayor told us that we would be welcome to see the rest of the town, but the town wouldn't be prepared for our visit for another year. So we were allowed to shoot at that location for about 5 minutes, and we're back.
Okay, so later on in their view, which I didn't get a chance to show, but when they actually found where they're putting forth these businesses, the people that were running it, the gangsters as they called it, they actually tried to take the camera from them and were trying to beat up the people so they wouldn't be found out. And other people were interviewed and stuff asking why they do this with their hands are all burned from the heating of these circuit boards and stuff, and basically they said because the money's good, and they've considered doing other stuff, but they can't because the money's too good and they have nothing else they can do. So what can be done and what should be done? A lot of the companies like Apple, they're taking it into their own hands and they're setting up their own recycling and making sure that it's done properly, like looking over it and everything. Or there's other sites like ban.org where there's a list of recyclers that have been accredited and know what they're doing. So you can be sure that your products will not be just shipped to China and cause all these problems to these countries. That's it.